In today's video, I actually want to share with you how you can actually regain your purpose, especially around this time of year where a lot of us are feeling a bit sluggish and so many things have already happened around us, and you're just trying to find yourself way back to that journal and or vision board that you did at the beginning of the year in a way for you to be able to find your purpose. Another episode of Mbali Talks, your platform for all things business, fashion and lifestyle. As mentioned, this video is more of a lifestyle video, mainly because of how I've also personally been feeling for the past couple of months, in fact for maybe a month and a half now. I went to Durban at the beginning of June and I thought to myself, yay, I'm going to Durban, I'm gonna vlog about it when I come back. But something about coming back to a society that is just in shambles, where everything is going wrong, everything is going wrong here, everything's going wrong in Swaziland, just made me feel a bit sluggish. And to be quite honest, I've really been ignoring my goals for the past month and a half. And at first I thought to myself, no, I need a week off after the holiday to recover. And then that week off turned into a whole month, guys. And I just started wondering if maybe it's because I feel like I've lost my purpose, or I'm losing my purpose, or I don't know. It almost seemed like I was no longer aligned to the dreams and the visions that I planned at the beginning of 2021, when we all thought actually after 2020 things were suddenly going to go back to normal, you know. And after I jotted down the point of why I think I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling and how I can actually regain my focus and hopefully find my purpose in life again, I thought to myself it was worth a share, just maybe to reach out to somebody else who might be feeling the same way and who needs just a bit of a nudge in the right direction. So this video is basically for that today. Before we go any far, I'd just like to apologize for being AWOL on you guys. I've been getting a lot of DMs and emails of people wondering when I was actually going to release the next video, and quite honestly it's because of all the things that I've just mentioned in the past point, where I've been feeling slow and sluggish and demotivated, and right now I'm actually feeling just a bit more in line and in tune. And even though my energy is still a bit low, but I just thought to myself, let me force myself to sit down and do this video in a way that can help me as well as you to be able to get back on track for the last remaining 6 months of the year. So the first reason that I found myself feeling a bit more sluggish and maybe a bit demotivated, and maybe this is something that you're also suffering from, is the fact that you are too comfortable. And sometimes comfortability is because of two reasons. Either, first of all, you're afraid of change, which unfortunately for you, changes are constant. Like if there's one thing that is definitely certain in life, is the fact that change is going to happen in your life. I mean, you went from being a baby to a toddler to a teen to an adult. Do you understand how many changes have happened in your life throughout that whole entire time? So it doesn't make sense for you to suddenly now be afraid of making change, maybe in the right direction for your career or your business or even your personal life. The second reason that you're feeling comfortable, which is something that I found myself suffering from, is the fact that you feel like you have achieved some of the things that you actually wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year or maybe in the past 2 years. The problem with that is, unfortunately for you, the more you achieve, the more you need to achieve. I sometimes think to myself and I think, I wish I was one of those people who were not so ambitious and who were not making lists or didn't have plans at the beginning of the year, who didn't have this vision board that's going on behind me. However, if I were to be one of those people, as much as I find myself a bit more relaxed or with less anxiety, I would still generally be demotivated and bored and feeling very frustrated in my life because there's so many things that I want for my life, you know. But sometimes we get a bit too comfortable in our lifestyles because maybe you've gotten that promotion at work, which is great. Spend 2-3 months celebrating your promotion and then go back to your goals to see what else it is that you'd like to achieve. Or maybe you've bought that car that you've been wanting to buy for the longest time and you feel like, you know, you've made it. Or maybe you've moved into a new house. That is all well and good. Celebrate yourself, take time to enjoy your life, take time to enjoy those achievements, but don't get complacent. Which is what I think was happening to me in the past month and a half. I just got a bit comfortable because a couple of maybe investments that I'd made at the beginning of the year were starting to pay off, and I thought to myself, let me enjoy it, let me spoil myself. But it's easy for you to go off a whole tangent and start spoiling yourself every other day of the month until it's a month and a half later and your goals are on a hold and you have not done any YouTube videos, and or maybe you've not even focused on your studies if you're somebody who's studying, you know. Another thing that keeps us comfortable is staying in the same routine of your life every day. And I know this is hard for us to break currently because, you know, we've been taken back to level 4 lockdown, or we're in the process of getting vaccinated and the world is not exactly exactly opened up yet. However, there are certain things that you can do in your daily routine that can kind of change your mindset, or rather reignite your fire, or even motivate you to try and do better when it comes to you sticking to your goals and or your to-do list. Staying in the same routine is actually the second point that we're going to talk about in this video. This is basically how I feel sometimes we tend to continuously expose ourselves or associate ourselves in spaces that are no longer as inspiring to us as they used to be. So you know how sometimes when you get a job, or you move to a different place, or even join a different circle of friends, you find yourself feeling a bit inspired and happy and motivated. You want to get to work, you want to have your plans, you want to go through your to-do list, until at some point it starts being the same thing over and over and over and over again. Which is why it becomes very important for you to sort of do an audit of the spaces that you're associating yourself with. And I know sometimes those same spaces could actually be spaces that you found previously inspiring. However, they will not be inspiring every day for the rest of your life without you implementing any change in them. And this is why sometimes you find yourself feeling like your life is feeling stuck, like I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, where I felt like I'm not really sure what I should be doing next, because like I've been doing the same thing again and again. Luckily for me, personally, I actually just recently met somebody who I'm hoping to turn into a business associate, but that person actually exposed me to a different way of life by just having us go for a meeting in a different place, you know. And when I was there, I thought to myself, this is such a beautiful place. I was exposed to a different level of life, and I thought to myself, this is exactly the life that I want. This is exactly the aspirations that I have. And like it or not, guys, money is good, hey? Don't make people make you feel like money is not good. Money is good. It gives you access. It allows you to be able to assist other people in all the things that are happening in our society right now, you know? Just to name a few. But what I'm trying to say is, if I had not exposed myself to that person or allowed myself to attend that meeting, I would not have been sort of nudged again or woken up again to say, hey dude, this is actually the life that you want for yourself. Do you mind getting back to your work so that you can sort of make your way towards that life? Even if I get there in 5 years, but it is still something for me to be able to look around in my surroundings and check if I'm still feeling inspired. And if I'm not, then it becomes my responsibility, and even your responsibility, to start getting into spaces and exposing yourself to energies that are actually going to ignite the person that you actually want to be. There's something that I often see online where people say you need to show up as the person that you want to be, and I used to think to myself, that is very difficult because you're not that person as yet. But with time, I got to understand that if you keep showing up as the person that you want to be, there are certain changes and decisions in your life that you're going to take that you will find are leading you towards the path of that person. But you are not going to be able to realize that if you don't make any changes in your life, or if you stay in the same spaces and you still socialize with the same people and you feel like that is going to help you stay motivated. It is not. Whether you read a book, whether you go to a place where you wouldn't ideally afford going, save up enough money and go there, just to be in the energy and to be in the scenery and to be in a space that is going to motivate you to want more for yourself. It's only in those places and in those experiences where we find we kind of regain a bit of focus for the kinds of things that we want to achieve for ourselves. We found ourselves questioning if the life that we are leading now is actually in line with the purpose of the life that we actually want. And once you start having those questions around yourself, you're going to realize that maybe there are changes that you could make in your life that are actually going to lead you down the path of the place where you actually want to go, and therefore finding your purpose again. The next reason why you might be feeling like you're not really finding your purpose, or you're feeling a bit sluggish at this time of year and you're not really sure how to get back on the saddle, is that sometimes I feel like we share more than what we actually do. And I know you guys have seen the people that post on social media how you must keep your head down and hustle and let the work do the talking. And I am a believer of that, but also sometimes I think the reason you need to do that is not because you're afraid that people are going to be with you. But it's just mainly because sometimes if you talk about the thing more than you're actually doing, you get overwhelmed by all the work that you find yourself feeling like now you need to do to be able to keep up with the lifestyle that you've actually pronounced for yourself. That is another reason why you find yourself now feeling a bit demotivated, because you're just generally overwhelmed. And I'm not saying don't celebrate yourself or don't talk about your dreams and your aspirations. Do it, but do it less and do more of what you're actually supposed to be doing in order to get there. And sometimes the reason we found ourselves sharing things, especially with our friends and our families, is because those are things that we actually aspire to and we want for ourselves. And we desperately want them to be so true. But if you'd find yourself sharing more than what you're actually supposed to be doing behind the scenes to make those dreams a reality, like I said, you're going to find yourself feeling like, oh my gosh, I've sort of promised people all these things that I said I was going to be. And this is why you find people then end up faking their lives, because you're trying to live up to a standard of life that you yourself have pronounced with your mouth when you know very well that you've not yet worked for. In fact, you would rather find yourself being a person who says, this is what I'd like to do, instead of saying, oh yeah, I run a business and I have so and so customers, or I have so and so followers. Because the minute you say you have 30,000 followers, people are thinking, well, you must be making some good money. And you know that you're not, because behind the scenes you've not implemented the kinds of strategies that turn those followers into sales, as an example. So sometimes the reason you're feeling like you're overwhelmed or you're feeling a bit demotivated is because everything just feels like it is so much that you need to achieve because of all the things that you've been saying that you've actually done when you know very well that you haven't. My advice for you is, if you're feeling like that, find your notebook or your journal, write down your to-do list as if you've never written a to-do list in your life, and then start ticking off that list one by one. The things that you've actually ticked off the list in the terms that you've actually done is actually more than the things that are still going down your to-do list of things that you still need to do, which means you are slightly catching up to the things that you promised yourself to be able to do for your life by the end of the year. It's just a simpler method, and I know it looks like you're going to be repeating the same thing that you did at the beginning of the year, but you can't write goals once and then never revisit them and never try to break them down into days. I have a 5-year, a 3-year, a 1-year, a 6-month, and even a 3-month plan. But all those things are not going to be possible if I don't break them down. It'll be nice and well to have all this big picture in your mind and all these things that you think you want to achieve, but unless you jot them down and break them down onto a daily thing, you're just only going to find yourself at the end of the year with all the things that you pronounced at the beginning of your year and having not done anything. So that's something I definitely look into if I'm trying to find my purpose again, or if you're somebody who's feeling a bit sluggish and you feel like you just want a bit more motivation to get back onto your goals. The fourth reason why sometimes we find ourselves being a bit demotivated and maybe not finding our purpose is again linked to the point that we just had, is that sometimes I feel like people don't plan. Like, you know, you want to go and live in an expensive estate, you know, you want to drive an expensive car one day, you know that you want to be a manager and or an exec in your company one day, or maybe you even want to start a business. But you have not written down anything about it. You've not planned for it. You're just making pronunciations, and you think one day you're just going to easily sail onto that post or sail onto that estate or buy that car. Listen here, it's not going to happen. And some of the main reasons why people don't plan for their lives is because it just seems like it's a lot of work. But what you don't realize is that if you have a plan for your life, it's easy for you, again, like I said in point 3, to go back to that note and or that to-do list to check all the things that you've actually done versus the things that you'd like to achieve. And therefore it gives your life some form of direction. And what I like about planning your life is that it kind of reduces the anxiety because it gives you a sense of control over your life. It almost seems like you are able to stay ahead of the curve because you have all these things that you've already started implementing in line with the plan that you want to have. So it seems like all the things are just a bit more possible. 5 years ago, when I decided to quit my job and go into business full-time, I had a plan. I thought I was going to have a clothing company, and that clothing company was going to make me money, and then I was going to become a millionaire. And even though I'm not yet there in the terms of that clothing company, but what that clothing company did for me is to open up my mind to other business ventures that I can actually try and do all around us. And a lot of these business ventures, to be quite honest, are now things that I don't necessarily have to wake up and do every day, but they still sustain my livelihood. But I would not have been able to get to those opportunities if I had not started the one thing that I had initially wanted to start, which was a clothing brand, to plan around it, to do pop-up sales around it, to save money that has come from it, in order for me to be able to have the kinds of capital that have allowed me to invest in the other business ventures. So those are the joys of planning. Without you even realizing, there's a way that your life finds itself on the path that it's supposed to be on if you start off from a certain direction, aka a plan. A lot of the opportunities that are out there in the world, you are never going to be able to take advantage of because each time an opportunity comes around, you would not have planned for it. Because you are a type of person that says, I don't plan, life just happens to me, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. Yay, there's a blessing in planning, because if you're like me and you believe in prayer, you're going to pray about those plans. And then you're going to realize every other day that you wake up, every other person that you encounter is sort of in line with the direction of the life that you want to take. But again, you're not going to realize that if you're not planning for anything, if you're not inspiring for anything, if you're not motivated by anything, if you don't aspire to have or do anything, all those things will only be possible if you plan for your life. And what I like about planning, like I said, is that even though it seems like it's a lot of work, it really isn't. And it really defines your life and makes you close yourself off from all the things that have nothing to do with the plans that you have for your life, and just charge ahead in the direction of the plans that you actually have, therefore keeping you in check and therefore helping you to continue being on the path to finding your purpose. My last reason for why I've been feeling a bit sluggish and feeling demotivated and uninspired and just feeling like I'm a bit out of my purpose, and it's something that I struggle with, yet you wouldn't be able to see it if you look at me or you watch my videos, especially if you follow me on my other social medias, because I just always come across as confident and ambitious and someone who knows how to get things done. However, I realize that a lot of us are actually afraid of failure, and therefore that keeps us from being able to do any other thing that could change our lives and take us from this level to this level. This is actually one of the main reasons why you never find yourself starting anything and or trying something new, because you're thinking to yourself, why me? Instead of thinking, why not me, you know? So a couple of years ago, there's a brand of flip-flops and sandals called Ipanema. It's actually a brand that Bonang Mateba was selected to be a brand ambassador for after Giselle. An amazing brand. They make quality sandals. I actually love them. So a couple of years ago, I bought a pair of sandals. I dressed it up nicely. I took pictures and I tagged Ipanema. And then they DM'd me. Oh wow, we love the style. We'd actually like to send you a couple of sandals. Please send us your social media card. I was like, oh my gosh, I could scream. But then instead of coming back from the scream, I went AWOL. Like, I literally did not send them an email. I literally did not respond back to the formal proposal that they wanted to have going between us, or basically me and them. And even though in the DM I responded and said, thank you, I will let you know, or I'll send you the email, they actually even attached an email in my DM to say, please contact so and so and send us your social media card, which is basically how you're planning to market their product if they were to send them to you. This is a big brand that was saying, hey dude, with your 4,000 followers, because I think those are the followers that I had at the time. With your 4,000 followers, we are recognizing all the good work that you're doing and we'd like to send you some free sandals. Only if you actually reach out to us in a formal email. I froze. Like, literally. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to me. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna send the email. I'm gonna plan it nicely. I wanna type it out. I wanna plan this. I wanna jot down this. Till this day, I never sent Ipanema that email, guys. Which basically means my chance of being an Ipanema celebrity sailed away. Because I just started feeling afraid of what if I send them my social media card and then they realize I actually have 4,000 subscribers, and at the time I didn't even have a formal Facebook page, and I wasn't even doing these videos or even positioning myself as an influencer. I flaked out because I was afraid of success, guys. And that is what a lot of us actually tend to suffer from. So this is something that I need you to actually really look into. I don't even know what the fear of failure really comes from, but I think maybe sometimes it comes from the region of the world that we're from, where we're sort of taught to be humble and to be calm people and to have this whole cultural, traditional way of doing things. That is all well and good, being in line with our traditions and our cultures and respecting them, but don't let where you're from or don't let how you grew up decide that you can't be this or you can't achieve that. And like I said, the fear of failure just ends up being you sabotaging yourself. And even though some people feel like they fear starting something or they fear changing their lives because they fear what other people are going to say about them, what I've learned in my life is that a majority of the people that are going to judge you for trying anything new that is actually going to make you happy are people that wish they were as brave as you and were able to do the same changes that you've implemented in your life. Those people are the same people that if you were to start a trend or if you were to start changing your life, a couple of months down the line, they're going to reach out and say, hey, I noticed that you did this. Please help me. I'd also like to change my life in this manner. those are the kinds of DMs that I get every day. And even now it becomes sort of mind-blowing for me to think, oh my gosh, there's someone sitting out there who's feeling like I'm inspiring them when I'm also just fearing to fail. Like, I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I hope this works out. Oh my gosh, I hope in 5 years I'm a billionaire, you know. But I would not have been able to achieve half the things that I've achieved in my life right now if I'd stayed scared in my chartered accountancy job or in my auditing job, trying to figure out a life that had nothing to do with my purpose. I would not have found my way to even come and find myself in such a platform such as YouTube, you know. So my advice to you is just do one thing. Start. Step out of your comfort zone. Do that to-do list. Go back to the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. Go back to your vision board if, like me, you had one, just to reignite your motivation. Hang out with a different circle of people, just so that you can find your mind opening up to other possibilities of things that maybe you would not have been able to recognize if you had continued staying in the same routine. With all those points that I've shared, I hope I have helped you, like I've helped myself in the past couple of days when I was doing this video, to be able to realize why maybe you're not finding your purpose, or maybe why you're feeling demotivated, and therefore help you to kind of start taking the baby steps that you need to be able to be your best self and or to create the kind of life that you want for yourself, just like I do. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so very much for stopping by. You guys are the reason this channel stays alive, and I do promise that I will be back very soon with another video, hopefully before the end of the week, or like I did before, to have 2 videos every other week. It's just been such a crazy time, guys, and I thank you guys for being patient with me and sending me those DMs to re-encourage me to be able to come back on this platform and to keep this channel going. Other than that, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can join our community, and also to hit the like button because it really works well for the algorithm that works here on YouTube. And also, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, so please stay tuned and turn on your notifications the whole entire time. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.